Hello, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this week's content to this point. Today, I'm going to be talking about why I don't believe everybody's opinion that the playoffs will cause a spike in the market will come to fruition. So, before I get into it, you know the drill. Let's hit the intro. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, and you guys can give me your feedback in the comments down below. The reason why I do not think that the playoffs will cause a spike in the market and cause another influx in and of itself, like the playoffs happening and the playoffs starting, I don't think is going to cause a spike, is because we have seen this time and time and time again. We ask ourselves, our first moment badge is priced in. Our rookie badge is priced in. Our potential trades priced in. And the answer has always been no. To this point, you would be better off selling on the rumor than waiting for the rumor to come to light and then trying to sell then. When Andre Drummond was talked about being traded way back when, I know it's not a fair comparison because it was before the entire market crash. He was what, like $600, $700? And then when he actually gets traded a month later, guess what? He's trading for like high 200s. Even before he got traded, right before the trade deadline, he was like 400 bucks. Then he actually gets bought out, goes to a new team, and he's at 200 something bucks. We saw the same with Aaron Gordon. I was one of the dumb ones who held and waited until he got traded. He went to a contending team in the Denver Nuggets and his price decreased because everybody stacked up on him, knowing he was going to be traded, then put him on the market because they're like, okay, people want him because he's traded, not realizing that the only people that were inflating his price to that point were the ones holding him, waiting for him to be traded. And the only market that he had was those people stacking him in their collection, waiting for him to be moved. Same thing with first moment badges. We all thought, oh, it's going to be a way of differentiation. I do believe in the long run it will help, but when everybody's doing the same thing and knows that they're about to happen, they're going to buy them and they're not going to be the ones buying them at an inflated price because they already bought them when they were cheaper. The same thing with the playoffs. I know a lot of people in Top Shot aren't savants when it comes to what's happening in the NBA, but you don't think that they know that a team with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden is in the playoffs? You don't think that they know that LeBron and AD are in the playoffs, or that a team with Chris Paul, Devin Booker are in the playoffs? Not that I think it's priced in, but at the same time, I don't think that this market is necessarily as, I don't want to say dumb, but as far behind as many people think. Like, even if you don't know basketball, every sport has playoffs at the end of the year. All American sports, they always have a playoff at the end of the year. They know what's going to happen. So these fringe guys that I was buying in January when it wasn't probably priced in, guys like Joe Ingles, Joe Harris, you name it, guys on guaranteed playoff teams who were trading for extremely low prices when they would eventually be in the limelight, that was probably a smart idea. And I'll pat myself on the back on that. But at this point, if you're trying to buy up Joe Ingles and Bogdanovich's and you don't believe that they're just going to blow up in the playoffs and you're doing it just because they're making the playoffs, I don't think that's going to cause the market to spike. What I do think will cause the market to spike are one-off performances, because there's only going to be 16 teams playing once the playoffs start. Obviously, every round it gets cut in half. So round two, there will be 8 teams. Conference finals, 4 teams. Obviously, the finals, there will be 2 teams. So I think as it goes on, as you get into the conference finals and you get into the actual finals when there's less teams on, there's higher potential for players to really blow up in terms of price. I mean, we saw it last week, right? Zach LaVine, I think, hit 50. We saw Jason Tatum hit 53. And their prices didn't do anything crazy because it's a random game against like the Timberwolves in the middle of April. Whereas in the playoffs, if Jason Tatum puts up 53 on the Bucks and wins a big game, there's going to be a market for that because it's one of the only games on television and it's going to be a massive story. Him doing it in the middle of April, nobody's really caring about it. Nobody's talking about it. It's not being priced in. So I do think that the floor itself and first moments of every player in the playoffs, although I think that may not just rise just because they made the playoffs, I do think that one-off performances of very good players will certainly help their price. Or a guy like Joe Ingles puts up 30 and they win a game, could improve his value a little bit. But I feel like, again, people at this point in Top Shot who joined in February know after 4 months who Joe Ingles is, or like the potential that he has, and saw that he hasn't spiked that much at all, that when he starts to spike, everybody's just going to dump their Joe Ingles. And at that point, it's going to be undercutting and his price might even decrease. So at the end of the day, do I think the playoffs themselves are going to help the market? No. Do I think that individual blow up performances will help the market? Yes, but probably not even to the extent that we think. I think the only way that the market bounces back, which I think I'm going to talk about on tomorrow's video, has to be from Dapper and has to be from NBA Top Shot side of things. It all has to do with, to me, with supply and demand like any other market. But that's all I got for today. Let me know in the comments what you think about my ideas on the playoffs. Let me know if you don't think that the prices are priced in and guys like Joe Ingles and Bogdanovich and Joe Harris and Bruce Brown and other guys who are fringy, McCall Bridges, stand to improve just because they're going to be in the spotlight one way or another. Thumbs up if you enjoy, thumbs down if you didn't, subscribe if you're new, join our Patreon if you want to be part of the Discord. Any support helps. I appreciate anything, and I assure you will have a good time if you join it. But that's it for today. We'll catch you guys tomorrow talking about what I think can possibly help out the market. But that's it. Peace.
Chatham's on. Foolies glad I'm home. Even my haters kinda glad I'm on. Rest in peace to my vagabond. Rapper, song, singer, suspended, subpoena from misdemeanors. Dreamer, held back asses, Loki still a zen. And I still shake a boat squat. Ran for my broke, got city on the come up. Shot that nigga so side.